Hey everybody, welcome to StableGen.io. My name is Patrick. I am the engineer, developer, founder, creator of StableGen.io. So I wanted to start a tutorial series. I actually made a first kind of walkthrough a couple days ago for a specific issue that a user in the private beta was having, and it sort of made me think I should probably start making some tutorial videos. Like, I have a bunch of guides here on the site, but if you're anything like me, I actually have learned a ton over YouTube, and I think sometimes it's just helpful to actually see somebody clicking through, the buttons and everything that you're actually seeing on your screen. So this is the first in this series, and I think, probably by a few weeks, I should probably have mostly the whole site covered. I think if I can put one of these out almost every day and just kind of try to keep them short and sort of focused on certain areas here and just sort of walk through the whole flow. So today, the first thing I'm going to do is assume that a lot of people probably don't even know what StableGen is, why it's created, or what it's supposed to do. So I'll just start there with a quick overview and then just go to sign up, although I don't think you really need much of a tutorial for sign up as it follows pretty standard patterns. So StableGen is an AI powered website. There is a bunch of different pipelines that I've created, and the main thrust of the site is it's helping you people that have lots and lots of ideas for scripts, ideas for movies, TV shows, commercials. You could also be, a professional that you're sort of given a task, and StableGen can sort of take you from the beginning step and really fast forward you down the road much further and create scripts and consistency and stability with your characters and your stages, the sets, the locations, in a way that I don't think there's really other sites that do it quite this well. We get you there quickly, and then you have tons and tons of flexibility for granular editing, all throughout. So let me just run through what's on the landing page, because this goes through a lot of it. Like I said, you take your idea to documentary, educational video, whatever you want, commercial. So how we do this is you can create projects, which then are these containers for your scripts. So you start with your idea, you have a bunch of settings. So your idea is really just, you can be really free form, just, what is the story? What are the really key moments maybe that you want to hit? You want to hit these beats. Maybe you kind of have an idea of this is the basic flow of the plot arc and everything. And these are the characters. This is where it takes place. This is a type of film or, movie or whatever, show. And you just, you start with all that, and then we have a bunch of different settings to help kind of fine tune the way that it's going to be output, the way that the dialogue's going to be written, the timing of it, the way the cutting of the shots are going to happen, all these things. And so you set that, you can pick your camera and lens setting. People are really fired up about that being in Higgsfield. We've had that in our private beta for a while now. Anyway, so, and then you will have the option, you can just create the script and download it. And obviously you can edit, regenerate parts of it if you want, regenerate the whole thing. If you kind of think, hey, I want to change the core idea now that I see the way it's outputted. But, you can have a really nice formatted script outputted. And like I said, you can get in here and really refine everything. Here's your scene, and you can see at the bottom here, this is what we call the timeline for the scene. So, there's dialogue beats, there's reactions, there's all these different things. And you basically can edit all of this if you want, or if you like what was outputted immediately by the AI, you can do that. You can actually lock scenes. So let's say, you really like the way it's going, but the ending isn't quite what you had in mind. You can lock all of these scenes. You can add notes to this last scene of what you want to see change and just regenerate that if that's what you want to do. And then once you have the scenes and the timeline, you like that, and you can generate these shot lists. This is for, a pretty long scene here. These are 17 different shots. So these are all different cuts, back and forth and back and forth. You imagine two people sitting at a table in a coffee shop talking, you got at least 3 basic shots in that. You've got, over the shoulder of each character, and then this sort of, wide establishing shot sort of from the side showing both of them sitting there. You can obviously do a lot more, but that's the idea, for people that, haven't really delved much into movie making and just sort of casually watching films and shows, really start to watch a scene. The camera cuts, very quickly over and over. And so we also take care of that. Now, this is a separate pipeline. This is a second generation. So first you generate your script and then you check it over. Then once you like the scenes and the timing, the dialogue, everything, now you generate the shots. And then from the shots, then we go into generating your first and last frames. Each shot, you'll have this, for each shot, you'll have this type of interface here. You'll be selecting your character images, you'll be selecting your stage. This is like the set, the location. We call it a stage in StableGen. And you can also change, all this detail is, describing exactly how all of this is going to be composited together and create this frame. And if you are familiar with AI video generation, most of the time what we're doing is we're creating at least a first frame and then using a video prompt and putting that into something like VO3, Sora, whatever is your video generator of choice. Now you can also create the last frame. Same basic idea. This is for times where, something significantly is changing in the shot from the beginning to the end. Maybe the shot begins with the character, their back to the camera, and then they wound up facing forward. In these types of situations, you definitely want to have a first and a last frame, because otherwise your video generator is just going to have to hallucinate what the character looks like. And then we also generate, as you can see here, this video prompt. Right now, these are pretty tailored to VO3, and they use this sort of timeline architecture or, approach. So to hopefully land all the expressions, just everything that happens in the timeline in this shot at the right time, the lines are delivered at the right time and everything like that. So, you take all of this and then you put it in the video generator. In the future, we will probably add video generation inside of StableGen, but we really wanted to focus on where we thought we could really bring value. And then also one other thing is, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but these images here, these selectors, these are coming from characters that you've created in StableGen. And I will go through all that in future videos. But that's part of the idea of StableGen is, you sort of have this character's base image, and then StableGen has all these options for generating different poses and expressions and everything like that. And then you can sort of feed them in, use those, like get a really good asset, an image asset that will hopefully make the composition or the compositing into the frame, better and more accurate and dependable. One thing here, this is an older screenshot. We also have reference images. So what they are is they're just for referencing other frames in the scene. And so the idea is, once you kind of create your first frame and you like it, you can regenerate it and change any of the descriptions, stuff like that, and pick different assets. But once you get it and you like the look and everything, you can then use that as a reference frame for the next frame. Now, and then you can describe how to use it. So the idea is this can then help keep the consistency. Consistency of lighting, just the different details in the stage, like in the set, like the background, of the image, like all these types of things. Being able to carry over, references from other frames that are generated should help with that. And you can actually use any frame in the scene. So, it doesn't always have to just be like, oh, first frame and then referenced here. You can use anything in the scene. So that's like the basic overview here of the scripting part of it. And like I said, there's also this character asset generation part. And so the idea is you can see your actions, expressions, zoom levels, camera angles, heights, lighting. So, you start with your base image, and then you pick there's a whole bunch of different options. You pick from the options, and then you get your assets. You can download it. And this is actually pretty helpful. This is something that people do through prompting. But I think that, this is just a lot easier and faster. And, this is like tested pipelines that now have created like thousands and thousands of image assets. And, under the hood, we're using Nano Banana Pro, Seed Dream 4.5. You can also, tick it down to, the original Nano Banana or Seed Dream 4. We also have other, in our editor, there's prompt editing, which those are Nano Banana and Seed Dream Pro 4.5. But we also have in-painting, which uses different flux models. We have a camera movement pipeline, which is, pretty experimental. But if you have ever tried to take an image of a location in Nano Banana and like move the camera, like orbit the camera 90 degrees or 180 degrees, something like that. Like imagine you're trying to get in a conversation the over the shoulder shots from each perspective. You will see that Nano Banana like really can't do that. So we've been working really hard on a pipeline that does a whole bunch of different steps of spatial analysis and a layered approach to like assembling the new camera position, and works pretty well. I mean, sometimes you can give it really difficult scenes, but compared to just trying to pull this off in Nano Banana, it is an order of magnitude improvement. And that's, useful for adding the correct stage asset for a given shot, and not just depending on the video to sort of pan the camera and hopefully, you like what it hallucinates the set to look like or the background to look like. In this way, you can control it with your last frame and say, okay, the camera pans 90 degrees. Well, you can go work on that pan final image in the camera movement pipeline and get something you like there. This is just prompt editing. This is also old. We have Nano Banana Pro and Seed Dream 4.5 also. One thing to note is Seed Dream is far cheaper than Nano Banana, so you really got to you should probably test things out with Seed Dream 4.5 and hopefully get the results you want before going Nano Banana Pro. Okay, so that's like our basic overview. I did talk a little bit about stages. So with the stages, you're changing things a little bit differently. You're changing art styles, time of day, weather, mood, things like that. But the camera movement is then you're going more into the editor. So it's like you kind of create the look and feel, time of day, weather of what you want your stage, and then really from there you would, if you need to get different camera angles, you just go into the editor, and it'll generate the assets that you want that then you will use to composite the frames. And all of these changes, every time you make an edit, it just creates a new image, and we keep track of the parent and the children. So, it's all there. It's all on the character or the stage. You're never destroying anything. So you can, feel free to move around. So that is our basic overview here. Like I said, here's these guides, which you can get into. You can see all the different, like here I was talking about the editor, and I'm going to have to update this now because I don't have the camera movement in there. But, you can find basically everything. I do have to do a final update on these again, but, most of the stuff, hey, you can switch light mode, dark mode. Sorry for blowing out your eyeballs there. Okay, so let's just go to a quick sign up tutorial. Nothing too interesting here, but just enter, your email password that you want to use. You'll get a confirmation email. This is plus test 2. So click the link, it'll send you here. Sign in, and voila, you are set up. I think maybe this account is already, let's see here. So like I said, we're in a private beta. So I'm just going to create a test character here real quick. This guy. Okay, cool. All right. So for the private beta, all you have to do is just email me, and well, you'll probably be sending it from the correct email that you signed up with. But if not, make sure you include what email you signed up with, and just tell me what you want to do on StableGen, why you're interested, and be also interested in how you found it, because we're not doing really any marketing right now, and people seem to still be finding the site, so we're always interested to hear how they're finding it. But yeah, we improve you, and in the next week or so, we are going to be rolling out, we're sort of shutting down the private beta and rolling out our Stripe integration and the token system. And we are going to be operating just like, pretty much any other, AI powered website, where you'll sign up for a subscription. We'll give you a bunch of tokens, which then you can spend, however you want. We'll have token packs, so you can, re-up your tokens if you're, within the month and you've used them all. Yeah, we think we really got something cool here. And I hope you like it. And yeah, reach out to me. I am, if you see here, you can obviously email me here, but you can also find me on Twitter, @StableGen_IO. Love to hear from all of you. And yeah, hope to see you soon.